Welcome to Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark.
Hello, everyone. Hope y'all's having a great day. A lot of times in our life, we experience some turmoil. Sometimes we say, like, okay, we were burned by churches, so let's give it another try or whatever, see what's going on. Hello, Mr. L. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Hello, Jackie. Good to see you as well. Thank you so much. Good to see you as well. Hello, Carlene. Thanks for coming in. God bless y'all. Put it to note, let me give you the history behind this church. So I said, I'm going to go to church. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go to. I got dressed. I was running a little late. I didn't know what time some of this was going to happen. Hello, Parky. Good to see you. So I get dressed and I said, okay, Lord, where do I go? So I said, okay, I don't know where the right entrance is, and unless you don't want to go in some churches, if you go on the door, it might be the front of congregation, and I definitely don't want to walk in into would it be my first time in front of everybody and have to walk around, right? So I said, well, I don't want to go to that not knowing whether they already started, which door to go in. And same goes with this other place I wanted to try. So I drove around and said, Lord, where do I go? I see these people going by at an old church I attended. Okay, Lord, yeah, I forgive the preacher for what he had done, what he said years ago. But Lord, you know this is going to be very difficult because I don't think that, I think that he still judges me wrong. Okay, let me give y'all a little bit of history, okay? There's this guy that went to church there. He's a registered sex offender. I did not know that he was a registered sex offender when I went. And they had me to ride with him and his lady over there to another meeting place for a group. But on the way, he had told me, he said, well, I am on the sex offender registry because my granddaughter, there was no other adult around, and she had a tick on her private area. And I was thinking, how would you know she got a tick on her private area unless you pulled, whatever. So he ended up getting busted. He said there wasn't no woman there or nothing. So he had pulled her pants down and removed the tick and said she ended up with blood on her panties. So they went to, evidently, when the parent went and took her to the doctor because there was blood all in her underwear, okay? All right. So, yes, he's a registered sex offender. Um, but he still goes to that church and all as well. I don't hang around with him. But there was this guy that was a friend of his, and he had a motorcycle, and he never did, what you say, mess with me or nothing. So I rode on a motorcycle with him and stuff. But the bad thing was, his sister went to that church as well. And he showed up at my house on his birthday, and he started touching me inappropriately, and grabbing me, my privates, my crotch, my boobs, everything, and said, "It's my birthday. You're gonna give it to me. If I ain't taking no for an answer, you cannot say no. You're gonna give it to me." And he's not my boyfriend. but he said I was going to give it to him regardless. And I said, no. And I got rid of him. And a lot of us, y'all know dang well that all these years, the police never have helped me. So I knew not to call the police. I didn't trust the police, right? Plus, my other thought was if I called the police and his sister goes to that church right there, I don't want a division with the church. So that night, I went to church. I pulled the preacher aside and I told him, I said, well, I want to tell you, her brother attacked me at my apartment today. I said, but I'm not pressing charges because I don't want a division in the church. He said, well, thank you. A year later, was talking on the phone, and he said, I think you lied about that guy doing that to you because you would have called the police a year ago if it did happen. And I'm like, what? Can y'all believe that? After a year before, I had explained it to him that I didn't want a division with the church. That's why I didn't. Another reason I didn't call. So let's fast forward. I hadn't been back. I had tried a couple other times to contact the person preacher, hoping that we could rectify the situation and discuss it, since time has passed. Nothing's been said or done. I was told by different people he's not going to ask me to forgive him because he still says I lied about it. Who in here believes me that it was done? Can y'all put a 1 up for y'all that believe me? It's got faith in me being honest about this. So I decided to go in there. The church was fine. I went in with the mindset that I don't know if I'll be back. I don't know why the Lord sent me here today. Keep an open mind, right? So it was completely a different setup this time. And I passed the pedophile dude, that's registered sex offender dude who's sitting out front. And, but anyway, I just let bygones. Thank you, Jackie. I just let bygones be bygones and try to, say I forgave him. But it'd been nice because I had difficulty listening to a preacher who looks at me as being a liar about me saying something that somebody done to me, one of the sex things. I'm an advocate. I'm out here to expose. I'm out here to, if I wanted trouble, I would have stirred it up, and went ahead and done all this other stuff prior. But I didn't want trouble with the church, okay? So people said, well, I hope you come back. I said, well, it's up to, I need to talk to the preacher. It's up to how he feels. And I pulled the wife aside and I let her know what was going on, why I hadn't been back. She said, you know what? That don't sound like my husband. And, I think maybe you don't need, this is not the church for you. Because you can be having flashbacks. Hey, Chris. You're going to have flashbacks. I said, I came here mainly so I could discuss with him to make amends. Like, let's get this worked out. If it's really whatever, let's let me and him talk. She goes, had you ever just thought about it that all this could be your fault? That this is all your fault? I said, do what? It's all my fault? If y'all know me, I'm a kind person. I'm a friendly person. I'm even around some of the people that hurt me in my past. I give people chances, choices, that kind of stuff. But yes, I was willing to let that slip as long as he treated me right this percent of time, right? I didn't even get a chance. But with her basically telling me, and when she was explaining all this, basically that I'm not welcome, I need to find another church because, oh, you're going to have flashbacks because that sex offender goes here. But that's not the guy that did the attack on me, okay? That's not the guy that did the attack. I was just trying to make amends, thinking maybe if I find a church and be able to worship as long as he was sorry. But if he's sorry, if he still wanted to play the blame game and take up for somebody that tried to rape me in my own home and call me a liar, I can't listen to a preacher preach. I can't. I can't sit there and listen to him talk. And somebody else said, well, we all fall short of the glory of God, and don't be offended him calling you a liar. I said, I know we all lie. I know we all fall short of the glory of God. I said, but this right here, it matters. You do not call somebody a liar when they're right there speaking the truth about somebody that violated them, okay? This is so wrong, okay? He said, well, it don't matter whether the preacher believes you or not. I said, yes, I said, it matters because he's the head of the church here. He's now even an elder, you said as well. He's a preacher and an elder there. So, yes, it matters because a preacher is supposed to be right. In the Bible, it spiritually says that, blameless, right? But if he's going to blame me and criticize me and say that I'm a liar about this guy touching me all over trying to rape me, yeah, I got a problem with that. I mean, you want to go like and say, and then his wife says, you ever think that it was your fault? Exactly. Exactly. You ever think it was your fault? That's what she said. The thing is, there's so many people that want to blame other people. And she said, there's so many people that want to blame other people. And yet it's really in all, basically, the person who's criticizing's fault. I said, why don't you just be quiet? Because I don't ever want to talk to you again. I said, even if me and your husband were to make amends with this situation, I already know that I'm not welcome here. And I don't want to ever hear your voice again. So don't you ever try to speak to me or don't even try to tell me you care about me or anything like you're saying right there, but you care about me. I said, that's utter bull crap. But there was something that happened that's kind of funny. Their guy was up there leading singing. And I thought he said, okay, this one song, we got to sing it. The priesthood wants us to sing it. I go, hold on a minute. This is not that kind of church where we have a priesthood here, right? That's kind of weird. I'm not going to sing here for a priesthood. I want to sing for Christ, and for Yeshua, I want to sing. I don't want to sing for no priesthood. So, like, is that what actually he said? I don't know. So I got up shaking my head no and went to sit out in the foyer and I asked somebody out there, I said, what did he say? He said he meant the praise group. There's a praise group there, right? Hey there. I said, oh, okay, I misunderstood. It's a praise group. All right. So I sat back down in the foyer and everything, and I felt so humbled and humiliated at the same time. But at least I did not walk out of the church with being mad and assuming. I went to find out what was actually said. Okay. So after church, even though I was done mad, knowing I wasn't coming back, I ran into that. He was a youth minister. I said, I owe you a big apology. And he said, what's that? You owe me an apology? I said, well, yes, sir. I said, I walked out shaking my head no in the middle of you leading them singing. It made me look like I was not a true Christian and such, because I was wanting to rejoice in the Lord, because I thought you was saying, let's sing to the priesthood. I said, I'm sorry for thinking that you said, but that's actually what it said. He said, he started laughing too. And he said, yeah, praise group. I said, yeah, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. So I still went ahead. Wait, not Liberty. Hey, Cash. And hey, Parky. So that's the funny thing that happened about this. But no matter how bad I was hurt, no matter, I felt like whenever I'm wrong, I'll be glad to take the credit right there and say, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry for judging that way. You know what I'm saying? So, and all in all, there were some funny things that happened, but there were some endearing things as well, right? Yeah, that is very narcissistic. Yeah. It's like there ain't no turning around when they go ahead and say something like, well, maybe you need to find you another church because maybe you don't belong here because you're going to have flashbacks. Excuse me, I don't hardly get flashbacks when I'm around people, even the violent people, okay? I have flashbacks mainly when I'm laying in bed late at night or something, but no, I pretty much my thing, and I told that minister too. I said, I want to tell you something. God's got me here to share my story. I've overcome so much just because of the Lord, okay? He's the one that brought me through all this, okay? I said, I'm at a point now where I'm supposed to share my stories and help others because I rose above all that with God's help. I said, but I'm not here thinking that I'm going to go to church because I'm going to have flashbacks about this person, that person, that person. I'm a forgiving person, okay? That's all I wanted to do was make amends. And I said, now I see that amends cannot be made. He said, well, there's one thing I can do for you. Let's pray about this. I said, no, sir, I don't want the prayer. That's not going to rectify the situation. I said, but maybe you could talk to the preacher yourself and let him know from the heart on what I'm saying. I said, but no, I have no intention of ever coming back to this church because the preacher's wife basically, what she was saying, like, maybe you need to find you another church. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. So no matter what, if these people, I left church and I bawled like a baby. I was like, I couldn't stop crying. I mean, it cut me to my core because I went over there feeling good. I went over there feeling the forgiveness in my heart. And then I felt like, let's make amends. I didn't go over there with an ill will, an ill spirit or something. And yet the preacher's wife actually turned red in her face. And she goes, even if he even did say this, so she was even calling me a liar, saying he probably never even told me uh, that he didn't believe me a year later that I'm a liar, that he doubted that ever happened to me. So she was even calling me a liar about that, okay? So, I'm not going to go like this and go to a place where I'm being ostracized and whatever. Dusting my feet off of that place for good. So, maybe I was supposed to go over there and see that a lot of it still was. There's some good people over there. They said, I hope you come back. You know? So I wanted to get it out there. Like, no matter how much you try, sometimes there are people that's going to try to stick in the way and make it sound like it's your fault. And I also let her know, I said, at the time, I was still trying to get my first book out there. So this percent thing happened. If it would have took to court, then it would have stopped me from getting my book done because I would have been all with the judicial system trying to get this fight done to protect myself and such, right? I said this was another way to try to stop my book from being done. I said I had a choice. Did I want to do what God wants me to do? Be an advocate, get my story told, and basically let that over here go. You know what I'm saying? Just let that go from prosecutions and stuff like that. Go on and be the advocate and stand up for our children. Tell my story, get it out there. Okay. So I made that choice. Yeah, I like to say I gave up religion, but I'm keeping my spirituality. Thank you so much, Jackie. And thank you so much, Cash. But this is a little ridiculous. I may try a different church next week if I'm not too scared. But it's scary when you keep being victimized by churches, you know, when you try to get out there and you try to talk. And I said, well, I want to be able to go to a church too where they need me. I said, there's too many kids that are being abused, too many kids that are going through sexual abuse, too many kids that's being violated by their parents or by whomever, by teachers. I said, my work is I've got to, if there was some kind of place like in a room where there's for the children or something, where I could come in there and I could help y'all, help heal the pain and the heartache what these kids have been through. Use me, y'all. Come on, use me. That's what I'm here for. Y'all need to use me to be able to help these kids and show them in ways that's appropriate. I'll be able to be around a kid and say, think about, oh, I know that look on his face. Oh, and the person, like there might be another person trying to pet them and all this other kind of stuff, and you can tell the child wincing up and all this, and the parent like, well, you're being jumpy towards me. You know, I'm the parent. But you got to understand, give that child some space, right? Give that child some space after they've been hurt. Don't go start loving up on them, rubbing up on them, or something like that. That's the problem. They've been victimized. You got to be able to help them in a way that's okay when they are ready, when the child is ready, right, y'all? Yes. And thank you so much. But that's what I was trying to do is get the message out there. But it's like when I'm trying to, I was hoping that she was like, yeah, let me go get my preacher, let me go get my husband, and I'll bring him to you so that y'all could talk. That's what I had hoped for, right? It didn't work out that way. Instead, she was red in the face and everything and getting redder. And y'all can look up one of the guys that is the predator. You can look him up at, and y'all validate. I don't mind letting it be known about predators and stuff. Hold on a minute. I'm looking. I got to find him. It don't matter if I call him out since he's already on the registry. What do y'all think? Do y'all agree with that? It's kind of weird. They don't want me to see. Okay, offenders. Okay, his name is Alan Wright. It's Wright, Pulaski, Tennessee. Look him up. So that's who the sex offender was. That it was his friend. Um, that I figured that he never messed with me on the motorcycle when I rode with him, so I thought he was different, right? Well, thank you so much, Jackie. I appreciate that. Aren't we supposed to use our stories, y'all, so that we could help others? Is that not what we're supposed to do? And so I'm fought in a lot of churches on a lot of times when they just want to sweep these things up underneath the rug. And when I talked to Charles Rogers a while ago, she goes, he goes, you mean they let a sex offender into that church where there's kids? I said, yeah. He goes to church over there. They let a pedophile worship there. And there's kids that's going by them all the time, you know. Um, yeah, it's true. I love you guys. Yeah. But what do we do when you keep trying to step up and you're like, you go to this church, oh, because of the things that happen to you, you know what? Some of these churches say, you're such an immoral person. No, we don't want your help in this church, even helping with the serving the Lord's, going to fix the Lord's Supper like the ladies do, or um, try to send out where sick the cards to the sick or anything like. No, we don't want your help at all. You are just attend here. We just let you attend here, but no. And some of them say, some of the churches go, well, we let you attend here. Like they actually called me at home after I got home from church some of the time and say, but we let you attend here, but you are under no circumstances to talk to anyone. You are not to stop and say hi to no one. You cannot sit there and ask how anybody's doing. You are just to come, get in your car, and leave. And then there's other members that's actually said, um, well, it's the best to let your husband kill you. That's your only way to heaven. Your only way to heaven, y'all, is go ahead and let my husband kill me. Well, how's that for churches, y'all? How's that for these churches here? Then that was in Alabama, and yes, it's been years, but still, they treat me the same even in this state in some ways, okay? I hope you have a Merry Christmas too. And Happy New Year. Yeah, it is terrible. But we got to realize we got to do better. If you're a true Christian, I looked online and I was seeing this one church here in Pulaski. I had heard that it's a really good one. And I heard I seen something somebody wrote up underneath it. And this poor family, her and her husband, I guess, out of town. They were stuck here. Car broke down. The husband's really sick. I don't know if he had cancer or whatever. And so they called this one church and they said, we can't help you. They broke down on the side of the road. We can't help you. Instead of saying, let me try to find somebody I could help you, No, we can't help you. And they said, and then another one, they said, up underneath there, and we needed food. We ran out of food. We needed help. No, 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 no. We can't help you there. Aren't we supposedly as Christians supposed to be out there trying to feed the hungry, help the sick, help the stranded? This person was a member of the same kind of church, but in a different area. And still they got ostracized by the churches. Exactly. Exactly. What's going on with the world that they would not help, right? We as Christians, we need to step up. There's so many shootings and stuff that's going around here in my town now. There's so many stabbings and such. It's really grown exponentially in the last month. There's not a week that don't go by where there's some gunshots here in town. And now it's been like 2 different people stabbed that I know of. this month, okay? So it's like, what is going on? What is going on? How come everybody keeps turning a blind eye? You only want to help the people that you know, but you don't want to help these other people that's a stranger. And the Bible does talk about, what you done to one the least of these, you have done to me also. So basically, if you shut your door on one of these people that really need your help, you're shutting the door on him also. So watch what you do, right? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm mad about it, because they kind of look sugarcoat it and everything. And just be, and it made me mad to where, like, I got to get on here and we got to talk about this. Who, me? You're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. No, Cash, one time I almost did a crime. I almost did. Y'all want to hear about the crime? I almost hurt my ex-husband. I was so tired of the black eyes. I was tired of the busted lip. I was tired of the being knocked for flips and everything. And one time I got a screwdriver. I pushed him down where he was sitting on a chair, and I got on top of him. And I was like at his chest with a screwdriver, but I couldn't do it. I could not stab him. I wanted to protect myself, and I just couldn't. I could not go ahead. I was tired at like about 10 o'clock at night. If I was laying in bed, he'll go in there and said, "Well, I'm coming to bed. You better go in there and watch TV, and you better not fall asleep." Of course, I had 2 young kids at home, right? So of course I was exhausted. I was tired, and I had a babysitting job too. 2 o'clock in the morning, I got woke up to his fist pounding me in the face because I fell asleep. So of course, the lack of sleep and all kind of stuff, it does kind of strange things. But I could not stab him, no matter what. I could not. I wanted to, but anyway, that scared him. He left me alone for a while. Thank you. Yes, he knocked me for flips. He busted my lips. Cops came and said, "Well, he can beat you all he liked as long as he don't kill you." Okay. So even the cops were allowing it, and even the church was saying, it's better to let him kill you. It's your only way to heaven. Okay. So yeah, uh, and yeah, he was trying to kill me. He got a life insurance policy on me for $100,000. And if I died by an accident, then he was going to get 200,000. So soon he stopped beating me. But let me tell you this: after the divorce, um, which I ended up running away to upstate New York, man, I was so glad. After the divorce, I lost my weight. I had so much fluid build up from different bone breaks. I went to the doctors, got a doctor's report, the medical reports of when I was seen. And my boyfriend at the time helped. We read through the records. He said, "Did you notice that every 2 weeks towards the end you had a new bone break?" So he broke my bones, because he beat me so much that he broke a new bone every 2 weeks. And I had to live like that. I was tired of living like that, people. And yet I was the bad one. I tell y'all a little something else, a little secret that I don't tell many people about also. So after we married, it took a couple years later. We got our new house, and he said, I lied to you. Thank you. He said, I lied to you. You were not the first person I had sex with. I said, well, that's to be expected. You're 21 when we married, and I had just turned 18, so I figured that. And he goes, I said, well, was it with such and such who you told me you dated before? He said, no. Put in mind, y'all, this is going to be hard to hear. I promise y'all, it's going to be hard to hear. He said that him and some friends from church started from age 10. It went on for 2 whole years. Him and so 5 other boys, so it's 6 boys in all. They would do each other every weekend till all were done, but it went on for 2 years. So I thought, oh my gosh, I married somebody that's actually prefers the opposite sex, possibly. Yeah. But guess who's the immoral one, y'all, everybody? Guess who the immoral one is here? I'm the immoral one. I'm the one that, yeah, you're the immoral. It'd be best to let him kill you. That's on the way to heaven. So y'all tell me, how would that change your marriage when you find out that? And it's kind of weird that every time, like we went to church, and in church, you could tell when a guy's wearing a suit if they're excited when they're standing around another guy, and he was excited. Okay, and it was sickening to me. Sorry. And of course, I was married. He said, I didn't really want to marry you. I really like this other girl, and she's really pretty, and you're really ugly. You don't look good, but she's drop dead gorgeous. And I said, that's kind of funny because she's your cousin. Yes. Oh yeah. You think I wanted to act lovey dovey to him, afraid because and he stopped coming home at night. Um, and then he would come home like maybe about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning with a clean uniform. He was a mechanic. So his clothes were being washed somewhere else. So I don't know where the heck he was. Yes, he was. By being around some of the same guys that he did when he was 10 years old, okay? Yes. Sickening. Sick and twisted. And so it makes sense for him not to come home at 10 when my son turned 10 years old, when oldest. So it made me wonder whether or not he was having urges being around my son at age 10. Okay, I couldn't help. I mean, that's a normal reaction, right? If he's going to tell you that type of thing and then not come in at night. And everybody says it's my fault. I was one cheating. I was doing all this. I wasn't cheating. I was there spending time with the kids, taking care of kids, babysitting, taking care of the house, even helping taking care of your mom and helping cut the 2 acres of land over there and working out in the garden. And, if y'all know working in a garden, how you're planting and cropping and all that kind of stuff takes a lot of stuff. So, yeah, there's a little bit more about my story that a lot of people don't know. But they want to look at me as me being the immoral one. The preachers would not even condemn, and the elders would not even condemn my husband for him beating me. They said, we're not going to get on to him. Yes, he was the one that beat me. Yes, knocked me for flips, all kind of stuff. Yeah. And the only reason I stayed with it because the churches were saying that unless I could prove that he had an affair, but even though he was threatening to kill me, the cops said, well, first they said, well, we can't do nothing until he killed you. You think I was going to stay around? Yep. So now everybody got my ex husband up on a pedestal while I'm down here low on a pedestal, according to a lot of people, okay? But I will be people's voice and I will say mine too. Yeah, he was a working man, yes. He he had like a job 7:30 to 5:30, but then with a mechanic they had a certain kind of pay that's per job. What's that, commission for the car working on cars? And then he would go to other people's houses, and he told me it's none of my business where he went. I didn't need to know where he was. He told me that early on after he married. And another thing, when we were married, I don't know if y'all know this, but we moved away from his mom for a little while because she kept saying um, that I was cheating on my husband. I wasn't. I didn't need that added stress. So we got our own apartment in Huntsville, Alabama, and well, we were living there a lot of times. He was disappeared, and he says, "Well, you didn't need to know where I'm at. I could have been in that lady's apartment. I could have been in the woods. It's none of your business where the heck I am, right?" But his vehicle was there. So anyway, um, here I was about 7 months pregnant. Him and his, I walked outside, started brushing my hair, had taken a shower, letting it dry naturally and stuff, combing it. Like my husband and him walked by. I said hi. They didn't speak to me. So then they walked by me again, and I said hello, and they still didn't talk to me. So I knew that there was something weird that my husband was trying to get him to do. I was waiting for an answer. It was kind of weird. Hindsight's 2020. And then next time they passed me, I touched the guy with my hairbrush and I said hi, and he turned around and he kicked my pregnant belly. I go, ow, and I fell to the concrete. I fell to the concrete. Our front porch was a concrete. And he goes, well, that serves you right. You shouldn't have touched him with your hairbrush. So I couldn't get up and stand. I had to crawl. We did not have a home phone inside at the moment, but I had to get my arms and, just pull myself, dragging it on the concrete and drag myself on into the house. Then I had to hold on, try to get up on the couch to get myself, pull myself up with that. He said, "But you shouldn't have interfered. You should have, just kept quiet. You touched him with a hairbrush. You deserve that kick to your belly." I was worried about my baby. I was in a lot of pain. He would not get me any medical attention whatsoever. This was in 1981 when this happened. Yeah. So it was 1981 when that happened, yes. And at the time, um, then the case with my dad dying, he had died at work back in 76. So the settlement, and so um, I was getting some registered letters in the mail. And so registered letters, who's supposed to be the only ones that sign it? I am, right? So my stepmom was taking off work, and I didn't know it. Next thing I know, I get a knock on the door, and it's her. She had told the mail carrier that she was me. She signed the paperwork as me, opened up my registered mail, and she would take off the top sheet of paper and then stick the stuff back in the envelope and then knock on the door and hand it to me. I would say, "Where's the front page of this registered letter? I'm the only one that's supposed to be signing for the registered letters." Tony said, "Just drop it. Just drop it." I said, "That's important. There might be something that I need to do." She said, "You're pregnant. You might lose the baby. You need to let me handle it." I said, "No, I need the documentation." But she refused. My husband sided with her. Da 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 da. Happened twice. And so I think I ended up missing out on some of the money because of her coming and doing that. She did it 2 different times. Could have been anyone. It's crazy, ain't it? So there's a little bit. I figured I'd let y'all know a little bit more into the history and know that how the system failed me, how even my husband did not side with me on doing what's right legally because I wanted that mail was registered to me. Okay. She also worked for Bell South. Y'all know that she killed my first child when um, I was a teenager, how she held me down, whatever, right? And I didn't want no part of her coming over there and doing this. Um, she had no cause to come over there and sign my registered mail and say she was me. Um, and she also worked for South Central Bell, so that before she uh, worked for at a lawyer's office. But she worked for Bell South, so no matter wherever I moved, no matter what numbers when I changed it to, she worked at Bell South, so she had friends that were always giving her my private phone numbers too, so I could never escape her, you know? So y'all put that in mind. Y'all might think, okay, there's ways to get away from her, but you know, it's kind of hard when. Well, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I said a lot, maybe more than what I should, but just know I am here to try to help other people. I am here, and we got to expose the things. There's so much corruption. There's a lot I don't have in my book, okay? There's a lot that y'all don't know, and I figured that sometime I could come in here and give y'all a little bit more tidbits into my life on things that happen and why my trust in a lot of different systems did, didn't pan out. Because, of course, the law enforcement never stuck up for me in the past. I want to say thank y'all. Oh, yeah. And y'all want to know how the divorce happened. I mean, y'all want to hear how the divorce went? So, although the police had plenty of medical evidence, right? Okay. So, we went to court. The judge said that the police reports and the medical evidence were inadmissible for abuse. So they would not let me use the evidence, the police medical reports, nor the police reports. So because of that, he ended up having the kids, and I was out on a limb having to start all over. So that's how that was. The judicial system sucks a lot of times and will not do the right thing. Well, thank you so much, Parti. And yet they want to bring me down, but guess what? I'm still rising above it. Hey, y'all, I'm working on a book. Y'all want to know the name of it? It's called Beacon of Hope, okay? Merry Christmas to each and every one of y'all. Hope y'all have a blessed day. Thank you so much for coming and listening and being supportive.